Hello and welcome. In this video, we will learn about duck typing. Alright. In the previous video, we used inheritance to achieve polymorphism. Right? Duck typing is another way to achieve polymorphism in Python. It follows the saying that if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it must be a duck. Meaning, as long as an object resembles another, it could also be treated of that type. Okay. Now let me take an example and explain you the concept. Here I will create a class by the name dog, and inside this class I will define a method by the name sound, and I will have a print statement in it. So let me say oof. Okay. This is the sound that a dog makes. Okay. Now let me copy this and paste it two more times. And here I will change this to cat and I will change this to cow. What sound does a cat make? It makes a meow sound. What sound does a cow make? It makes a moo sound. Right? Now these three classes here are independent classes, meaning they do not inherit anything from any class. Okay. Now I will create a list of animals, and in this I will have the objects of dog, cat and cow. Okay. Next, I will use a for loop and make each of the animal use its sound method. Okay. So I will say for animal in animals, animal dot sound. Okay. Now let me run the program and we get the sounds of the animals. Okay. Now, what if we add a class that has nothing to do with animals? Like for example, I will have a class of car. Okay. And inside this, I will have a method named as horn, and inside this, I will say honk. Okay. And now within my list of animals, let me create a car object. It doesn't really belong in here, but then let us see what happens when I run the program. When I run, I get the sounds of the three animals and this error. This is because our car object does not have a sound method, meaning it doesn't have the minimum necessary attributes and methods to call it an animal. Okay. And when iterating through this list of animals, we are calling each animal's sound method, right? Which our car object does not have. But what does the car have? The car has a horn method. So what if we rename this horn method as sound method? This is the sound that a car makes, correct? Honk. So we can call it as sound. There is no problem in it. Now when I run the program, I get all the sounds without any errors. These three are of animals and this is of a car. Meaning this car quacks like a duck. So we can consider this car as a duck. In other words, this car makes a sound, honk, and so we can consider it as an animal. because it has the minimum necessary methods to be considered an animal. Alright? So this is polymorphism. Instead of checking if something is officially an animal, we just check if it behaves like one. If the object sounds like an animal, then no need to ask for its animal certificate. We don't check if an object is officially a dog, a cat, or a cow. We only check if it has the sound method. And as long as the object has the sound method, the program accepts it as an animal. Okay? So this is polymorphism. Alright? Now, this is one way to access the methods. Let me show you another way. Here I will define a function by the name animal sound, and inside I will pass object. Okay, obj stands for object. So we will be passing object as parameter to this function. Okay, and inside this I will say obj dot sound. Okay, and now I will create an object of dog. Alright, and then I will call this function and pass animal1 to it. Alright, so let me run this program, and you can see I get oof as the output. So what happened here? When we run this program, animal sound function will be called and animal1 object will be sent as the parameter. Animal1 is an object of dog class. So animal1 will be sent here, and animal1 dot sound will be invoked or called, which makes woof to be printed out. Okay, so here I will say cat, and when I run this I get meow as the output. I will change this to cow, and I will run this to get moo as the output. And finally I will change this to car, and when I run this I get honk as the output. Okay, so this is one more way by which we can access the methods of the classes. Alright,